Okay, so I've made a goddamn schedule, dudes. This is serious. Writing these things has actually been a lot of fun, and even though I'm fairly certain I'm getting carpal tunnel in my right wrist, I've decided to do more. So, kick up your feet and get ready for some more of me calling every single non-Western comic a manga. Hell yeah. Here are 5 more manga I'm reading that maybe you'd like too. Tensei Shitara Dragon no Tamaga Data Ibara no Dragon Road. I swear these titles just get longer and longer every year. Anyway, so it seems like I basically only review isekai these days, but who can blame me? They're the hottest fad and they're so relatable. I mean, who hasn't died and been reincarnated into a fantasy world where you either have a cheat hack's power or the shittiest power imaginable, or the shittiest power imaginable that turns out that can be used as a cheat hack? It's definitely a universal issue we've all faced. To get back on topic, this manga is an isekai about a dude who was reincarnated as a dragon. Like, fuck yeah, am I right? Who doesn't want to be a dragon? No one, that's who. And if you don't want to be a dragon, you're no one to me anyway. So, it's about this dude who dies and becomes a dragon and does, like, dragon things. He makes some friends and does battle and levels up and evolves and shit, but like, yeah, it's a bipedal dragon. His main goal is to survive, since dragons are notoriously feared and hated, and like when you see the other dragons in this manga, it's kind of clear to see why. The art, it makes me uncomfortable. No matter how many times I see this, looking at a dragon with abs it disturbs some inner machination of my psyche. I don't like that. Me, no likey. Also, like, they're really pushing this balance between characters' evolution being too edgy for you and, like, cool. So I don't know if or when they'll cross that line, but I'll still be there, reading about this muscular bipedal dragon. Also, even though the art is a little grueling and heavy, it's still really fun to read, and with the amount of chapters you have online right now, you can get through it in like an hour or so easy. It also has a really cheeky and earnest feel to it, and I enjoy that. The main character just seems so reasonable, like a normal dude dragon dude thing. If you like Kumu desu ka nanika, this is the shit for you. Hook yourself into some non-human reincarnation and wonder if you're slowly becoming a furry, and whether or not you should give up your life so you too can become a dragon. A fun little romp through the dangers of being too delicious and hated, so definitely give this a go. The Duchess's Empty Shell. Oof. That was my immediate reaction to this. Also, like, the hell? This is strangely progressive? Somehow? I've never actually seen this type of story take place in this exact same way, so it was kind of interesting to see it unfold and see where it would go. Not an isekai this time, but yet the main character still basically dies and goes back into the past. I would say it's a little reincarnate-y, but not too much. Basically, the main character, the Duchess, she's super baller at summoning magic, but she's also a complete and unquestionable fool for her fiancé. She's utterly devoted to him and head over heels for him. She'd just basically do anything for him. And he's basically a dickbag, and he's only using her for her magic and her status, claiming her magic as his own. And get this, bro, get this. He's cheating on her with her cousin, who's a dude. Right, now you're with me. That's why it's progressive, and why I had never really seen this happen. I think one of the main draws is that even when the main goes back in time to before she dies, she still treats her cousin with respect. It's sad because it's even more depressing than even if she had straight up hated him. It'll definitely give you something to feel about. Some sad things to feel about. Though, to escape her fiancé, she proposes a loveless contract marriage to some nobleman, and that's where things take a turn for the romantic. I won't go into any of that, but I so sorely wish she wanted more revenge on her ex-fiancé than she does. But the way the story is going, it looks like it'll just explore more of everything else except revenge. So, don't know about that. Enjoyable setup with a main character who has learned from past mistakes and is given a chance to do it all again and decides, nah, fuck that. I ain't gonna be a slave with a disfigured body and being too weak to breathe, and like, you know, that's valid. If you want a good main with great emotional depth and the taste of romance just beginning to touch your lips, this is the manga for you. The Second Coming of Gluttony. So, I started reading this manga while I was on a Discord call with a friend, and like, moving from chapter 1 to chapter 2, I had gone silent, and then I said, what the fuck? Needless to say, my friend on the other side asked what the hell I was going on about, and that kind of reasonably explains how I felt upon reading the first and then second chapter of this manga. The chapters feel like they're from completely different worlds, and actually, now I say that, that's the fucking point, isn't it? Right, so this is isekai. I think it's as much isekai as Dungeon Reset, but that's not that important. Let me get into why I was just like stunned into silence, and then I had to actually check if the first chapter was posted by a different scanlator group and they just fucked something up or something. We start in a battlefield with bodies strewn about like confetti and blood everywhere, like the time the handle broke off your saucepan and you got marinara sauce all over your kitchen. 2 people are still alive in this corpse playground, a lady and a dude, and a goddess descends. No, it's not Melfina. She asks the dying warrior what he'd like as a reward for surviving this far, even though he's about to die. And the dude is like, send me back to the past, bitch, in not so many words. She's like, nah, son, I ain't got the skills. Anything else? He says, just my memory then, not my soul. And she's like, pass. So he dies, and the goddess walks over, she trots over and talks to the lady. The lady is like a princess with a gem in between her boobs, and she's like, take this gem boob as payment and give that warrior his dying wish. The goddess is like, real? And the lady's like, real. So shrugging, the goddess says, whatever, it's gonna be a rush job, so it might not really work that well. And then bam. Now we're in the modern day with a slightly overweight gambling addict who has weird eyesight and a penchant for borrowing money from his ex. Oh, did that sudden change in story give you whiplash? Good, that's how I felt. What the fuck indeed. Anyway, god, this is gonna be a long one. The memory of the dead warrior pops into the main character's head, and he decides to somehow get to that other world. My own memories about this are a little sketchy, but like, the world they show in chapter 1 is like some sort of virtual multiverse different world thing, and to access it you either need to be invited or contracted in. Contracts are the worst, and in that instance you'll basically become fodder. But the main dude searches for an invitation and then gets in. Because he's an invitee, he gets some goodies. Bruh, turns out the first level isn't even the new world. It's like a way to get rid of the people who are confused or scared, and it allows others to bully the fuck out of you, and you get graded on your performance. So the high school setting is actually really apt. Once they get through this tutorial thing, they get to the main chapter 1 world, right? No, get fucked. They gotta do more training in another side world, which lets you choose to do quests and get points and more shit like that. And that's as far as the main storyline has gotten so far. This is gonna be half my video. Anyway, the manga is nice. A little complex, but good action points, and the main character is just like a good dude, eventually, who uses his power well. Eventually. Also, what the fuck with the title? How is that related to any? Do you want to be confused? No? Oh. Sorry, I don't recommend this to you then. Or, do you want to be intrigued and pulled along by a story that doesn't so much as show you where you're going as shoves you along at a weirdly inconsistent pace? Yes! You're a weird one. All that said and done, I do recommend this manga. It's got a really weird setup, but I like where it's going, and you might too. Yondome wa Iyanashi Zokse Majutsushi. First of all, this manga has so much almost Shotacon that I feel like I gotta put a warning out there for you. Like, it's not hardcore or anything, and it's not even softcore either, but like, no thanks. I don't need people constantly saying, you look old enough for a wife, to a less than 5-year-old. Ugh. Ugh. Ignoring the blatantly pedophilic vibes that seem so strangely prevalent in isekai manga, this story is like... what the fuck? And not in the same way that the second coming of gluttony is, it's like a sad, tired, and morose... what the fuck? So, let's talk about the plot. The main character has always been unlucky, and so when he's literally on a sinking ship, he's like, yeah, that seems about right. However, before he dies, he tries to save a girl. Which is like, cool, nice dude. Anyway, he dies. And everyone on that ship, I think it's his classmates, they get transported to a reincarnation spot, and the god is handing out powers like they're almost at their expired date. And he fucks up. He gives all of the main's powers to someone else who looks like and their name sounds like the main character. And the main is kinda left with nothing. Which means, because he had really bad luck already, he essentially gets negative luck in his next life. And dude, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? What the fuck? I read this next section and I felt bad that I had ever complained about anything in my entire life. This is so entirely fucked up that I don't want to think about it. It's important to note that the skills from his lives carry over into his next lives. So in this life, he was born with a lot of mana, but no identifiable magic skill. It's discovered that he has a new magic skill called death magic. That's self-explanatory. Anyway, suffice to say he dies again, and then is reincarnated. Hence, why it's about how he doesn't want a fourth time. He doesn't want to die again this time, and be reincarnated next time, right? So, but why? Because this time his third life is actually somewhat decent. But even then, in his third life, it's still like shit. Like, fuck me. This dude really didn't get dealt a good hand. At all. Remind him never to go gambling. Anyway, if we ignore all that fucked up shit that happens, at the core of it, this manga is about the main character trying to get stronger to protect those he cares about. And like, there's something heartwarming about that. I'll tell you what, this manga is a ride in 3 halves, because I'll be damned if anything that happens is what I expected. And the weird thing is, the tone after everything goes down becomes almost happy-go-lucky. So if you want a bipolar manga, then you know what, this is it. A weirdly satisfactory isekai that I don't think I ever want to reread parts of, but yeah, good in its own right. Saihate no Paladin. Dude! I'll tell you what. I sobbed my fucking heart out at one point. I was laying in bed and just like staring at the screen, and through my tears, I was like, but why? What the hell? Like, a genuine sobbing, a genuine mess. And man, I don't want to spoil anything for this one. It's just like astonishingly good. I almost hate how good it is because it only gets updated once a month. It's written so well, and I love every single character. And I have a lot of feels about this manga, okay? To just tease you a bit, I'll summarize only the very beginning of the story. The main character knows he's reincarnated but doesn't remember much of his life from before. As he grows up, he's basically isolated from everything, with only 3 undead to take care of him. A skeleton, a mummy, and a ghost. And that sounds like a funny beginning, but it's set very earnestly. As he's growing up and being raised by this family of undead, he tries to understand why and how he came to be the only human here with them, who they truly are, and who he is. And this manga moves at such a beautiful pace and develops characters and makes you feel all of the feelings. Hot damn. I really can't praise this manga high enough. The writing is so complex, and the emotions of each character and their own intentions and their complicated natures is just, yes, son! This is my shortest review of these manga so far, but I don't really have the words to explain how much this manga intrigued me, drew me in, and made me fall in love so deeply with it. If you like good things, you'll like this. Anyway, that's it for today, and like I was saying in the opening, I've made a goddamn schedule, and I'ma stick to it, you hear me? I won't, but you know, I'll give it a try, I'll try. So hopefully by that schedule, I'll be uploading a new video once a week or so, give or take a couple of days. It won't be the same day every week, but it'll be like once a week-ish. A quick reminder that if you want me to read anything and review it or do whatever it is I do, please comment or message me or whatever. I promise I don't bite. Not since that day back in '02. Catch you in hell, fellow weebs.